Hello, my friends. Today we're gonna continue our celebration into me getting Revenant in my beginner account, but we're gonna talk about the bad thing, the bad side of it, is that the Revenant got extremely and incredibly nerfed in the previous update. The interesting thing is that they didn't say anything in the patch notes about Revenant being fixed. They only mentioned that there was a fix about relationship of Noob Saibot and Revenant, where sometimes the Revenant would get triggered before the death mark was applied, and basically it was a big mess. But for people who don't know what's wrong with Revenant, let's recap. Let's go to the talents, goddammit. If we go to the talents, defense, Revenant, on player's death, 30% chance to be reduced to 1 health point and gain 5 seconds of invulnerability. First of all, I'm pretty sure it was 40% before. No, actually, just double check, it was always 30%. I don't know, my brain just got a little bit messed up. But the nerf is in the thing that before update 3.6, Revenant could trigger on multiple hits special attacks. Like, let's say Liu Kang special 1. When he does it to you, he does like 20 hits in one special attack. And every single one of those hits had 30% chance to trigger Revenant, which meaning that if you finish your enemy that has talent Revenant with a special attack that has multiple hits, you're pretty much guaranteed to trigger Revenant. Now, you can argue that, and now it only counts the last hit of your special attack. So no matter how many hits of your special attack you do to your enemy, only the last hit will have a chance to trigger Revenant. So we're gonna answer today the question, is Revenant actually still worth it after the fix? Is it still good? Is it completely useless? And also we're gonna talk about the Bone Shield, because I've seen people saying Bone Shield got nerfed as well. After taking damage from a special attack, there is 20% chance to apply Bone Shield for 5 seconds. Now, I don't think Bone Shield actually got changed. Let's just get that out of the way. Today I was fighting, and somebody did a special attack to me that had multiple hits, and Bone Shield was triggered after the first hit, and the rest of the special attack was absorbed. So, in my opinion, Bone Shield is pretty much the same. I don't think they changed anything. However, in Revenant, when before, how could you use this to your advantage? First of all, you always have Revenant. So let's think about it this way. We have 2 game modes which matter in this game: Towers and Faction Wars Survival. And in both modes, you had a chance to not die when the enemy finished you off. And AI, like most of the time, they're not smart enough to try to finish you with a single hit special attacks or basic attacks. They would often try to finish you with multi-hit special attacks, and you would get Revenant all the time, very often. However, we are smart, so we were able to avoid doing that mistake by just making sure not to finish an enemy with a special attack with multiple hits to reduce the chance of Revenant. And now you can argue that the nerf, it nerfs both sides, so it should be still equal. So now your enemies will get less Revenants, but you also will get less Revenants. But that is not actually true, because, again, as I just said, we were able to work around the bug. So we were able to make sure that our hits would have the least chance to trigger Revenant, and enemies, they didn't care, so enemies would trigger our Revenant way more. So it was already beneficial to us to have that bug in the game. Now, when it's removed, the chances are even. So your enemy and you have pretty much, no matter what you do, that you cannot affect the chances of triggering Revenant, which is a huge nerf. And now if you think about the towers, in the tower, there is your enemies, they don't have Revenant, so the only one who took a hit in the towers is you. So now you have, and let's think about it, how big of a nerf it is. 30% chance. It's what it is now. To be fair, it's what it was supposed to be. Like, Revenant wasn't really nerfed. It was fixed, because since they introduced the talent, for years and years, it was broken. And now it's fixed. So that is very important to know. The Revenant now works exactly like it's supposed to work. And if it feels like it's triggering less, it's because it's fixed now and it doesn't count multiple hits. So before, let's say, how many special attacks only have one hit? I don't think there is that many. Most of the special attacks have multiple hits. So there were very high chances that the enemy would use the special attack to finish you off with multiple hits. Which means, in my opinion, effectively, the Revenant before this nerf was for not when you use it, but when it saves you. In my opinion, objectively, the chance to trigger it was more of a 70-80%, because it's very often when AI uses multiple hit special attacks to finish you off. So you would get Revenants a lot. Now you don't. Now it's flat 30%, no matter what. So the question is, let's try to answer this once and for all. Is Revenant still worth it? Should you actually go defense route? What the hell did I just click? So there is, in my opinion, no reason go into defense tree if you are not gonna go for Revenant. Bone Shield, again, it's pretty OP. But honestly, like, I always went for Bone Shield simply because I went for Revenant, so I had to get Revenant, and it's a really good talent. It's just not worth it going the whole tree just to get it. But if you get Revenant, you might as well pick up Bone Shield. It's a really good talent. But what are the alternatives of Revenant? Is there anything else we can pick up here that can be better than Revenant? Let's take a look. On player death, 4% chance to deal 20% damage to the opponent's current health and cause stun. Now, this used to be very, very OP when Classic Armec wasn't working. Basically, it's like, if you die, you have a little bit of chance to deal damage to your enemy, which works on bosses too. So this talent is very useful if you have weak characters and you're trying to beat difficult bosses in the tower. But now we have Classic Armec, so honestly, it's not a necessity anymore. So I don't know if this one is going to be worth it. Let's see. Nightwolf's Chain Lightning. Every time a teammate is defeated, each surviving opponent loses 10% of their current power. This is absolutely terrible. You don't want things that trigger when your teammate is defeated, because in survival, it's pretty much the end of your run. Most of the time, unless you're willing to use potions. In the tower, again, 10% power drain, it's like nothing. If they have 2 bars of power, it's gonna power drain 0.2 bars, so it's not gonna take half of 1 bar. It literally does nothing, so this is one of the worst talents. Do not go for it. Now, what about Shaolin Last Stand? When you only have 1 character alive, immediately gain 1 bar of power and 55% chance for unblockable attacks. Again, I don't see how this is super useful. It's definitely not useful in survival. In towers, like, if you're really struggling, I guess this could be helpful. Like, if you're getting very close to beating a battle, but you just cannot, like I was with my vampires battle in the tower. If you're in that situation, then having this could actually give you an edge to finish off your enemy. But again, you do this, and then you get stuck in probably the next battle. So, is this worth it to go all the way? If you take this, what do you take on the previous node if you don't take Revenant? Honestly, I don't know. If you went all this way, I think Shinnok's teaching still is a little bit more useful in general, because it can save you a lot of damage everywhere. So Bone Shield, in my opinion, is now better than Revenant. Revenant, it barely gets triggered, but it does get triggered, which means it still has a chance to give you an edge. In survival, it can make a difference between losing a run and saving a run. In tower, it can give you a slight edge to finish off your enemy. It's useful. It's still useful. It's just not as broken as it used to be. Now, let's say you want to go offense tree. Like, we can like, usually 100 points is enough to go through 2 trees. Very rarely people decide to go for 3 trees, because the best things are in the end of the talent tree. So you can only have enough talent points to reach the end of 2 branches. So if we assume that defense is now nerfed because of the Revenant nerf, let's say, what if we go offense and support? Now, in offense, very useful talent is brutal ending, but it's only useful if you have brutality gear. Death mark technique, again, pretty good in certain battles. But the thing is, now you don't have to choose. Now you can actually have multiple talent tree presets. You can have a talent tree preset with Revenant when you feel like it's going to benefit you. Then, if you have a resurrection battle, you switch to the death mark technique or brutal ending tree, because this can help. Like, right now, there is, before, what people would do is to put 1 or 2 pips in most of the things until they get to the very end, to the very best nodes. Now you can actually build a talent tree which has all damage, like pure damage. You don't even go to the end. It doesn't matter. You max out abilities that do critical hit chance, critical hit damage. Like, you can build so many different talent trees. And I'm gonna make a video very soon on how, like, in my opinion, some of the best talent tree setups for certain battles, for certain tasks, that's gonna make your life much, much easier. But the thing is, you don't have to choose. If you don't feel like Revenant is helping you in your day-to-day life, maybe remove it from your, like, basic talent tree that you use to maybe, like, grind some faction wars, do challenges and stuff like that. But if you require that little slight edge, if you, for example, if you're stuck in a tower battle, maybe, like, the other options are, in my opinion, worse. So if you want to go that route, I still think Revenant might be worth it. And in support, what do we have in the end of support? Chance to reflect damage when blocking. Again, I don't think it's very useful. I don't think this talent is just very useful whatsoever, because if you block, you're probably not going to take that much damage to begin with. So it's not that big of a deal. Chance to use special attack to cost no power. Now this one, again, it might give you a slight edge, but I don't think so. I don't think that, honestly, support things are that good, like the final few nodes. It could be useful, but again, I would rather go for something else. Weak point attacks, though. Weak point attacks you absolutely need in certain battles, especially if you don't have any snare on your team. This is a game changer. Okay, I'm gonna work on some talent tree presets. But to sum it up, the Revenant, was it nerfed? Absolutely. It was nerfed, like, tremendously. In my opinion, it went from like 70-80% to actual 30% now. And it's a nerf for us, for players. For AI, it's not gonna change much. So what do? We adapt, we overcome, we become stronger. I'm still gonna use Revenant because like, I don't have enough talent points to go for something else. I still feel like it's giving me an edge. Like, sometimes in a tough battle, having those 10 seconds of immortality when you have one character left can give you enough time to finish off the battle. So I still think it's useful. It's just not broken anymore. So I guess good job, NetherRealm, for fixing your game 3 years after adding that talent and leaving it broken for people to get used to it, and now they're gonna be sad. Anyway, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Thank you, members and Patreons. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.